Ferrari did not create a rival. He created the conditions for one. Ferrari did not build cars. He built identity. And identity does not adapt easily. It protects itself. Ferrari did not sell transportation. He sold something harder to modify. Prestige, tradition, symbolic authority. In Ferrari's world, a car was not a system to be optimized. It was a representation of something already defined, an extension of a philosophy shaped by racing, by legacy. And systems built around identity behave differently. They resist iteration. They preserve. Because every adjustment is not only technical, it becomes symbolic. And symbolic systems do not respond to feedback the same way. They interpret it, and sometimes they reject it. Outside that system, things worked differently. Industry does not preserve. It adjusts. It tests. It refines. It improves. Markets do not reward identity. They reward performance, and performance depends on iteration, on feedback, on correction. This is where the tension begins, not between people, between logics. One protects what it is. The other adapts to what works. Both claim excellence, but they define it differently. And systems that define excellence differently do not align. They collide. And when systems fail to adjust, correction does not disappear. It relocates. It moves outside the system and takes form, not as opposition, as response. In this case, the response came from outside that identity. Someone who did not preserve. He observed, he evaluated, he questioned. And what he saw was not mythology. It was a machine. His name was Ferruccio Lamborghini. For him, the product was not something to protect. It was something to test, to question, to take apart if necessary. Because function was not fixed, it could change. And improvement required change, not interpretation, not preservation. Change. If something failed, it was corrected. If something could be better, it was redesigned, without hesitation. Because performance was not symbolic, it was measurable. And what is measurable can be improved. This is a different type of system. One that does not protect what it is. It adjusts to what works. And systems like this do not align with systems built on identity. Eventually, the two systems intersected, not by design, by inevitability. Lamborghini bought a Ferrari, not as a statement, as a product. Something to be used, evaluated. And when he did, he noticed something, not in the identity, in the machine, a limitation, something that in his system could be changed. So he did what his system required. He questioned it, and then he suggested a correction. But in Ferrari's system, that suggestion did not function as feedback. It functioned as intrusion, because it did not target performance. It touched identity. And when identity is challenged, the response is not adjustment, it is rejection. And when correction is rejected, it does not disappear. It reorganizes. It finds another path. Because systems do not eliminate pressure. They redirect it. What cannot be integrated moves outside. And outside, it becomes something else. Not an argument, an alternative. Something built on different rules, different priorities, different definitions of excellence. This is how markets correct imbalance, not through persuasion, through replacement. Ferrari continued to protect identity, but identity alone does not resolve friction. And where friction persists, space emerges. Space for something that does not preserve but adjusts, that does not interpret but improves. And in that space, a new system takes form, not to oppose, but to operate differently. When identity becomes rigid, it stops adapting, but pressure does not. And what cannot be integrated does not disappear. It takes form elsewhere, because systems built on identity seek to preserve what they are. But systems built on performance adapt to what works, And when these two logics diverge, balance is not negotiated, it is restored, not by intention, by pressure, because what cannot adapt eventually gives way. It creates the conditions for something else to take its place. The pattern is always there.